Hello everybody, welcome to my channel, first-time viewers as well as my long-time subscribers. Thank you for being here. I love having you. This video is all about a portfolio, a physical and or digital portfolio. The what, why, what does it look like, what needs to be in it, and some general tips. So what is it? It's a high quality visual presentation of an artist's work. Not everything you've ever done. It's the most representational work across the whole spectrum of what you do. You might be painting and doing sculpture and photography maybe, and then it can contain all of that, but it all should make sense. It should show what level you're at and your qualifications as an artist, as well as background information about the artistic career and creative approaches. What's behind it all? What's the story? What's the function? Why have a portfolio? So this can be for applications to schools, for residencies, scholarships. It can be an application for funding. Here in Europe, we have a lot of places that provide funding. Go get yourself some information. A portfolio will be part of all of that for sure. It can also be for collaborations, collectors, galleries, curators. Basically, in a compact way, show somebody what you do as an artist. In a way, it serves a very similar purpose as a website, but people don't have to scroll around. People don't have to look for where is which information that I need. It comes in shape of a book or a PDF file that they can just go through and check all their questions off. And now what does it look like? So as I've said, it can be a physical portfolio, something like this. This is my portfolio as of right now, and I will be leafing through every single page, show you what it looks like. I have it as a digital file. It's downloadable on the website. That is something that is very nice to have. You know, you can't always send large files via email, but they can download it from your website. Now, if you're worried about having it on your website because you think people can steal your work, that was my worry too. And I was so quickly silenced by people saying, well, if you're posting your work on Instagram, it's far more dangerous than having a downloadable PDF file of your work on your website. And I guess that's true. So have it in a digital version and have it in a physical version, because nothing beats your personal contact. Actually go by a gallery. This should be upon invitation though. Just marching in with a physical portfolio is not a good idea, but if you have made an appointment with them, you definitely want to have that portfolio with you. Then I have more versions. I have one in German and one in English. So you do want to have it possibly in different languages. And you might want to have one with prices and one without prices. If in doubt, always provide the one without prices, because people can always inquire about your prices. If you're applying for funding or something like that, you might have to have the prices on there. Depends what you're using your portfolio for. But that all basically means have it in some shape or form on your computer that is easy to make alterations. Then more about what does it look like. Now this is mine. It's fairly large and it does not have to be this large. It can be half as large. It can be in portrait format or in landscape format. It can be a square. It can be much nicer than mine. It can be bound as a book, but I will talk about that. I will show you what I did instead. It can have a much nicer cover, you know, some lamination, whatever you want. It can have more or less pages. I will talk about that as well. But you really want to not have loose pages. Imagine somebody leafing through it not sitting at a desk, at a table. You know, you don't want to have loose pages that are going to be potentially flying all over the place. This is a little bit large. I thought the bigger the better. I'm now not sure anymore. I thought the work can be seen better if it's in large format, but it's very nice to have something more like a magazine for people to look through. So it really depends on your work, what displays it best. Have it on good paper. I will talk a little bit more about that when I actually show you my portfolio. Let's get to the actual content and structure of it. And I will now switch the camera so you can actually see it. So here we go. This is the front page of my portfolio. It was really dirty. I had this at an exhibition and people were leafing through, but that's why. The first thing I want to show you, I find is very practical to have. I used so-called book screws. These are fantastic. That's what they look like. They come in different sizes. So depending on how many pages you have, you can use longer or shorter ones. And on the other side, there's a little screw, and it comes in a standard size, hole punch size. So you can actually do this at home, and I can easily take single pages out, replace them, put more pages in, or as in this case, I will just unscrew it and put a newly printed front page on. And it's really not expensive. You can really get this anywhere. And you have a hole punch at home, probably. You could, of course, like I said, use a transparent protection front on it, which I didn't do. Now, a portfolio like that should also be not that expensive. It's already expensive to have color prints of any kind of a good-ish quality. You don't want to use the cheapest paper, so it already comes expensive enough. And it's something that you want to be able to leave at a gallery. You don't want to give it away to everybody who comes to your exhibition, but important people like galleries or like a collector who buys an expensive piece of art from you, you might want to be able to give them away. So find a price that's kind of in between that allows you to give it away, but it should also not look cheap. So my front page is very plain and simple. This was my initial front page, and I still like it very much. So I took a class where the portfolio was part of it, and the teacher really didn't like it. He's like, oh no, don't do that. Something much more plain will not immediately cause a reaction. You know, they might be going, okay, let's look at this portfolio. And this one might be like, oh yeah, no, I'm not into that. I don't know. I still like this, and I still think I might make my own decisions about this at some later point. It could also possibly have an exhibition view. It could have your studio maybe, or it could have a detail out of one of your artworks. Opinions differ here, and if you want to be on the very safe side, you just do it plain and nobody's going to be bothered about it. Then you might have, but I don't, a table of contents. If it's a very long, big portfolio, you might want to have that. But it should never be more than 50 pages anyway. And it's more like between 20 and 30, that's ideal. But I could have a table of content that says where my artist statement is, which series starts. Or if I have paintings, sculpture, information about the artist, I could have a table of content. What is really great is to immediately start your portfolio with a painting. You don't want to have too many words before you show your first painting. It should be a work that immediately opens the show. So, samples of your work. That's like the main content of your portfolio. And the arrangement can either be chronologically, going backwards from the newest pieces to the oldest pieces, or it can also be thematically. What it can also do is, as you see here, I'm showing details of the previous paintings that I showed, and I give a little bit of information about how this work was created. Do not use a whole lot of words to explain your work. Your work should stand on its own. So I decided to go thematically, or I would say stylistically. For each group, I give a bit of information. She's an author and actress that I know. She wrote this for me. It's wonderful to have somebody else write words about your paintings. It gives a whole new perspective and it makes your portfolio look super professional. If you have somebody from the press or a curator or a gallerist write something about your work, you can pay somebody to do that. Curators do that kind of a thing. Just ask them if they would write a short text for you for your portfolio, and they say how much it costs, and it might be worth it. This depends on what level you're at as an artist. Layout wise, now I have to say I didn't know that I'm going to be using these book screws that use up quite a bit of space on the left side, and of course I should have made the layout better so that it doesn't kind of get almost cut off here. So that's one of those things, I'll just have to redo it. The first portfolio you ever make is not going to be perfect, but you're going to learn something and the next one's going to be better. The layout should be cohesive. The description of the paintings should always be in the same place approximately. And the fonts you use should always be the same fonts. Now these fonts should be your brand fonts, if you have brand fonts. Maximum 2 different fonts. I have one for the title and one for the rest of the words. Each piece should have a text that gives the title, possibly the series. I opted against that because sometimes I sort them into different series, to be honest. And it should give the materials, the dimensions, and the year in which it was created. By the way, also for these work groups, if you do work groups, you could write the dates 2020 to 2022, if that's when all these pieces were created. Or I could write 224 ongoing, meaning I'm still working on pieces that will belong to that series. So I'm leaving you through fairly quickly. Again, less is more. Leave the weakest paintings out as much as you want them in. I know how it is. So this is my next group. Again, I had somebody write something for me. The reason this is a different group is because it's slightly different style, and I just decided it gives it a little bit of structure. You also want to be, if you're not going completely chronologically, you might also want to be thinking about a story that you tell. It should make sense, one after the other should make sense. I had several curators look at this and they all confirmed that it's cohesive enough in style, because I was always a little bit worried that it was not cohesive enough, but they all said, no, this is fine, it's cohesive. So what you can also have is, as you see here, what it looks like on a wall. That is always a great idea to have. And if you have exhibition views, that's wonderful too. What definitely needs to be in your portfolio is the artist statement. So an artist statement, if you don't know, it's a short, well-structured text about your artistic practice, introducing yourself as an artist, your vision, your background, your goals should be in there. Make sure it's easily readable. This layout is not ideal. The sentences are a little bit long. It's easier to read a text that is more narrow. This artist statement could also be in the very beginning of the portfolio, but as I said, you do want to start with a painting or a sculpture or photography, but it should be a visual, and it shouldn't have so much text in the beginning. It should right away introduce the viewer. I could have, instead of this text about the work group, now have had my artist statement here if I wanted. But again, I wanted to evenly distribute text and images, and in my case, I thought in the back here is fine. What you do want to have, if you have it, are exhibition views. I did not, at the time of printing this portfolio, have any exhibition views. I do now, so I'm going to put them in here. That's why these book screws are fantastic to have. Then what also needs to be in a portfolio is your resume. This is my education, then my artistic path. Also awards would be in here if you had any, scholarships would be in here, and very important, your past shows. This is very important to have. As you can see, I'm at the very beginning of my career, and the more you have here, the better, because galleries will not take you seriously unless they've seen that you have been showing. A gallerist wants to know that you've been consistent and showing your work and that you're serious about it. So this is what I'm now working on extending as fast as I can so that it looks a little more impressive than it does right now. Then you could also have press releases, which I don't have any yet. Instead, I have this little sneak peek. I thought this could be interesting just to catch their interest into, oh, what's this? Now this is different. And then it opens a conversation with them, right? Where I can say, yeah, this is what I'm experimenting with now. It's breaking through the rectangle of the canvas, starting to get into more 2- and 3-dimensional things. So that would be a conversation opener. This is not something you have to do at all. This is just my very personal touch that I gave. Okay, and that's the end of my portfolio. What of course needs to be on a portfolio is your information, how people can get in touch with you, an address and an email. You know, the website is the most important thing. People can get in touch with me through my website. So I do hope that was helpful to see it. I ended up doing a whole second portfolio with my abstract works. I was told to do that. I was happy to take out all these abstract works because it felt like I can't make sense of it. And just putting that portfolio together really helped me also tighten my own intention that I have with my art. I still want to do abstract art, but I somehow felt that it doesn't go in line with everything else that I say about my art even, and my artist statement and all of that. But I have an abstract portfolio. If I wanted to hang my art in doctors' offices, lawyers' offices, dentists, banks, hotels, which is an entirely legitimate way to get paid for your art, I decided that my personal art is not so great for that setting, I think, and abstract art works really well for that. But I have a whole separate portfolio for my abstract work. And there I can also then write my artist statement a tiny bit differently to make that fit, to make all of that make sense. So there are a few more things that I want to say as general tips. Use a consistent layout and design. Meaning the fonts, the spaces at the top and the side of the whole page setup. Where is the description of your artwork? Where is the artwork placed? It should be as consistent as possible. Each piece has to be selected carefully. Experiment with taking things out and leafing through your portfolio and seeing whether that actually tightens it. Sometimes it's almost painful to then realize it's like, oh yeah, that piece really doesn't need to be in there. You will still be using the piece in shows and all of that, but it doesn't have to be in the portfolio. Less is more. Sold pieces can go in there. Yes, that's totally allowed. The style can vary, but it has to make sense. And the portfolio should tell a story, should lead you through, be it color-wise, be it thematically, be it chronologically. You decide what makes most sense for your kind of work so that viewers understand what makes you, you. Don't confuse them. Bring clarity to them. It should bring clarity to you, ideally. If you realize while making the portfolio things just don't go together, you might want to rethink why that is and what you can do to make sense of it all. Obviously, good photos are an absolute must. I'm still struggling with that. It could be worse, but it could be a lot better. It's just essential that you have good quality photos. Then a portfolio should grow with you, and you will be making new portfolios. You can keep an old one and then have a new one that starts at that point, or you keep updating that initial one by taking things out, by adding things. It's not something that's static. Don't make it way too long. Very few purposes would need a portfolio that's 50 pages long. Go for 20 to 30, make them want more. Don't make them get tired in the middle of it. Good quality paper, but it has to be affordable so that you can give it away and let them have it. I really hope this video gave you a good insight into what a portfolio can look like. Yours should not look like mine, but I hope I gave you some insight about what needs to be in there, what can be in there, and how it can look, and all the decisions that you need to make yourself. And lastly, I want to give you a really good tip, something I did when I showed my portfolio to curators. I brought small artworks along. It was one that was similar to this without a frame, because this is on canvas board. So canvas board is very flat. I had the portfolio in a big folder, and in the back of the folder in paper, I had one of those canvas board pieces, and I brought also one of these, not in a frame, also in a protective sleeve. And it had such a great impact. While the curator was leafing through my portfolio, I just laid those out, and they both went there and both had very positive reactions. They're like, oh, it has that many layers. Oh, that's great. It's interesting. Because it's always different to actually see an original. I wouldn't bring your whole canvas there. I wouldn't do it with a very large work. But if you happen to have pieces that are only the size of your portfolio, have some originals along. It's great. It just makes a very good impression. So that's definitely something you can do. Cool. I hope that was helpful. Please drop me any questions you have. I always answer comments. Sometimes it takes a couple days, but I do make an effort to always answer. I hope you're well. I hope you go paint now. And I wish you all the very best for your artistic career. The next video is going to be about my first quarter of this year, what I did to bring my artistic journey forward. It's been a lot, so I hope to see you again. Take care. Ciao. Thank you so much for watching. I love having you here. I love the exchange between artists. So please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, click the notification bell, and leave me a comment if you'd like. You can also subscribe to my newsletter, and you can go visit my homepage if you're interested in what I'm up to. And I hope to hear from you. Take care. Bye bye.